so that was what my coach and my dad really told me. He's like, do you want to just be whatever, or do you want to be the best? And so that kind of hit me that I want to be the best, and that's going to require me to be different from my friends.
This episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Re-Up Recovery, high-quality products that provide fast-acting pain relief. Created by working stunt professionals in the industry, their pain relief roll-on formula allows you to overcome ailments and then relax with anti-inflammatory ingredients in their deep tissue cream. Visit reuprecovery.com and use the code JAM to save 20% off. What's up, guys? Today's guest is a Taekwondo athlete and member of the Puerto Rican Olympic team. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Victoria Stambaugh. What is up? How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
I know. Welcome to Los Angeles. This worked out flawlessly that you're actually in town to do this. So.
I know. I'm so excited. It was my spring break, so my business, we closed that down, me and my husband, and we were like, hey, let's do the training, the stunt camp.
Totally. That
you got going on here, and we're like, yeah, let's go do that. Close down the school, have the whole week, chill, train, and enjoy LA.
Works out perfect.
Yeah.
And that's a shameless plug for our Jam Film Fighting Workshop. So everyone keep an eye out. We're very stoked to have them and get people like yourself that actually take the time to travel all the way down here.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys are enjoying it and getting something out of it. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're learning a lot, for sure. It's been really fun. I'm super sore, so I feel like I'm training for the Olympics again or some tournament. And so it's definitely a familiar feeling, 100%. Which is really cool.
Heck
but
yeah.
Totally different.
And I think, before we jump too far into your history and everything you've done within the sport, let's just talk about what you just recently closed down in order to come out here, which is a newly opened facility that I know you opened back home, and it's represented on your jacket right now. Yeah. So just let people know what Believe.Commit.Achieve is, and I guess kind of the origin story about it.
Yeah. So me and my husband and our business partner, we actually opened up Believe.Commit.Achieve during the pandemic. So it was August 2020 when we officially opened. So it was super mid-pandemic time. We're located in Houston, specifically in the Woodlands area. So we did really okay, despite being the pandemic time, because it was in the Woodlands area, and so it is a Taekwondo and a Parkour gym.
Nice.
So I obviously do Taekwondo. So I run the Taekwondo program, and my husband and his business partner are professional Parkour athletes. So they run the Parkour program. So we do Taekwondo, Parkour, and it's just our facility that we train out of, train other people, and have fun.
That honestly is the foundation of what we are here at Jam, which is joining all movement. And I honestly, growing up, wish that I had a facility like that had a blend of the traditional and the non-traditional, because honestly, that was something I battled with my entire life as a kid, was being so stuck in martial arts classes because of my parents, but then wanting to branch out and do this other fun, cool stuff that my friends were doing. So I think it's awesome. You guys have created a space for kids to have the choice to either do one or both, I guess,
Yeah, thank you. Because we have a lot of our students who do Taekwondo and Parkour.
Nice.
And it's funny because we'll have students who come in, they're doing Parkour. They've watched all the Parkour videos. They come in and their kids are we have all this energy, so we have to do Parkour. So they're focused on Parkour. And then, they're in the facility and they see Taekwondo. So a month or 2 months in, they're we want to try Taekwondo now.
Nice.
So, and we have vice versa, the Taekwondo people who want to learn how to fight, want to also learn how to move a little bit better, or, vault, things like that. So we have both sides wanting to kind of collaborate and mix their skills. So it's really cool.
So the $1 million question, have you started your own parkour training?
Yes, I love parkour. It's so funny. I just started training right after I got back from the Olympics. So it was last year, October, I started training. And, for the longest time, being with my husband and around his friends, I've always watched them, but I've never tried to do anything. Well, I've little things here and there that are very safe. But, working up to the Olympics, my focus was I'm not doing anything to mess myself up and get injured or anything else. So if I'm going to get injured, it's going to be in Taekwondo. I'm not going to get injured doing parkour being stupid.
Yeah.
So I held myself back for so long, like not trying to do any kind of parkour moves or anything like that. So once the Olympics were over, I was like, yeah, we're going to do some parkour. Let's learn. And I do the classes with some of the guys and the kids there. So it's really fun.
So I got to ask, for someone that's obviously has such a foundation in martial arts, do you find parkour to be easier or more difficult than learning a martial art, if that makes sense? Because I have my own personal theory, which I'll tell you. So maybe you don't feel like you're biased. Okay. I personally think parkour is easier to learn and achieve certain skills, just simply from this standpoint that I think certain aspects of martial arts, like kicking, for example, I feel like you could go your whole life perfecting certain kicks still, in my opinion. Yeah. Whereas, not to downplay parkour, because obviously I'm a huge fan. It's a huge part of my life. But I have been able to achieve more moves in a shorter amount of time period, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. Like, I'm very... Like, again, I'm saying I've seen a lot of the moves that been done around me. I've never attempted them until like October last year. And I'm doing them. I'm just shocked that I'm actually even able to do them. So yeah, I picked it up pretty quickly. And there's obviously like a lot of things that I don't know, but I'm able to pick it up, I think, a little bit faster because I am a martial artist and I've been doing martial arts my whole life, and the movement aspect, and I think a lot of the mental aspect too, it goes hand in hand. So yeah, I think being a martial artist definitely helps.
Definitely helps. Yeah. I'd say the one thing that parkour brings into it, though, that does not happen in martial arts is more of the environmental effect that it can have on you. Because I know a lot of people that are like super good at parkour in the gym, but then you take them outside of the concrete or you take them to elevated heights,
for sure,
and their brain just completely shuts off. And it's like a whole nother planet out there, which is something we don't really encounter in martial arts. We're pretty much always on a floor. We're always on the same like elevated or flat surface, if that makes sense. And so I do give parkour that, like the mental aspect of having to deal with fear and overcoming fear at heights is something that a lot of my martial arts friends just haven't got a full grasp on yet.
Yeah, and I've been I've said it on my social media before, and I've told my friends about it who do Taekwondo. I tell them, like, dude, you need to get into parkour. Like, just do it like 2-3 times a week, because it'll help your mental game. Because parkour, you're always doing different things, and you know, even something new. Like, parkour is totally new to me, and a lot of the moves are kind of scary for me to just go out and do. And so you really have to have that mental confidence behind it, or else, like, if you give it that 75%, like, you just can't.
100%. Yeah, I've gotten smoked so many times just taking things for granted and just not being fully present in the moment, and then sure enough, something happens.
Exactly. So I really feel that it trains your mind a little differently. And I think it can help for Taekwondo fighters, high level, or just, people who just want to learn martial arts in general. But I think it helps. I think it's been helping me, actually. So
totally. And for anyone that's out there in the Texas area, how many days a week do you guys have classes? Is it Monday through Friday? Do you take weekends off, or what's the normal schedule?
Yeah, our schedule is from Monday to Saturday, actually. And we set it up to where if you're 6 years old or 6 to 12-year-old, for example, and you want to do Taekwondo and parkour, you can do it every single day. Come in and do a class every single day for a different program. So, for example, you come in Monday, Wednesday, Friday for parkour, and then you'll come in Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday for Taekwondo.
Nice.
So we really try to make sure all the age groups have that opportunity to do Taekwondo or parkour. Yeah.
So this is something I always ask fellow gym owners, because from the outside perspective, I get a lot of people that are always like, I want to open a gym. Like, I can't wait to do it.
Yeah.
For those that are listening and are thinking of doing so yourself, is it something that's easy, or was it harder than you envisioned, or are you happy that you did it?
We're super happy that we did it. It's like our baby. It's where we ourselves grow and learn. And again, like, I'm a Taekwondo athlete and I'm learning parkour. My husband is a parkour athlete and I'm teaching him Taekwondo. Yeah. What I would say to anyone who's potentially wanting to open up a business is, if it's your passion, you have to be really passionate about it. If it's not a passion, if it's something like, maybe I kind of want to do this, but maybe I want to, maybe I'm not going to be 100% all in it. You have to be 100% in it. You have to think about it all the time. Even when you're on vacation, like, your school is what you're thinking about too. So you have to be passionate about it. If it's something you absolutely love to do, then go ahead, open the business for that, because you're going to put that love into it. Yeah. So we were able to do that because we love what we do, and we're like little kids there. We're like playing like little kids and doing new stuff. So yeah, that's the advice.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's, I'm going to kind of shock our listeners with this news because they probably don't know this. And so I'm not going to tell you guys where yet, but we are about to open our second Jam location in 2 months from now. And one of the biggest caveats with that is I literally got a call this week to potentially fight coordinate a massive movie right now. And they asked me to start next week, and I stop in December. And from the outside perspective, that's a blessing in disguise to be a fight coordinator on a massive movie for 9 months. It'll be a crap load of money in my pocket, guaranteed, you know. But my first thing that I brought up to them was, I was like, I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I'm in the process of opening my second gym right now. And I don't foresee that it's really possible for me to get that off the ground if I'm on a movie set Monday through Friday for 9 months right now. And so, yeah, it's been a real soul searching week for me to really make this decision of whether or not I want to take 9 months of stable, committed work, which is something very rare in the entertainment industry, or if I want to sacrifice that in order to pursue opening my second gym. And as of now, just because I know how difficult it is, like you said, I think I'm going to respectfully decline the film and just go full force on opening the gym and getting it off the ground. So
that's amazing. I mean, you guys are super successful over here. I mean, I know wherever it's going to be a success because you love it. The people who are here, they love it. I can tell. I mean, this is, you know, I've been here for 3 days now, but I can tell everyone who works here, you know, they're like, oh, we're family. This is community, you know, this, that. So you can feel that. And I think, you know, what you have here is community, which is very important.
Yeah, honestly, I tell people this all the time, like Jam, just like any other place, is just four walls with a door. And like, it would be nothing without the people that walk through the doors and make it a home for themselves. So we're very blessed to have like a really cool Los Angeles community. And I'm not going to say where it is yet, but hopefully we have a really strong community in the next one. Otherwise, we're going to close that one down after a few years, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm really, really stoked. Congratulations on the new gym. I got to make a point to make it out there myself. I've definitely seen videos of your husband training. I've seen Jared Ludi over there training as well, who we feature on the Jam Breakdown and has been on the JAMCast. So
yeah, he's great. He's so cool when he comes to the gym, and they'll go do their thing, and I'm just... you know, I like to train, but when it comes training with them, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not. I'll just be watching, or I'll be back, guys.
100%.
But it's fun to watch,
And so, like, obviously, when people come on the show, I kind of start with where they began their journey, and I kind of want to also with you, but I guess let's talk about what happened most recently, I guess, for lack of a better term. You got the chance to represent Puerto Rico in the Olympics. Technically, it was supposed to be the 2020 games, right? But then it got pushed to 2021 over in Tokyo.
Yeah, so, I mean, everyone knows the pandemic happened. So, and in 2020, I qualified March the 12th of 2020. The very next day, so during that tournament, the qualification tournament, there was talks of like, there was going to be no audience because this pandemic or this, you know, this virus is going around. Obviously, you know, with COVID, we didn't really even know what it was. We're just like, this virus is going around, and they're talking about like no audience there at the Olympic qualifiers, and I'm just like, what? This is crazy. There's no way. Long story short, ended up like my family and my husband was able to be there and everything. So it was great. It was like the perfect day. I was able to qualify. But the very next day, they end up shutting down all tournaments in the World Taekwondo Federation.
Wow.
So there was no more opens. All the other qualification tournaments for European and Asian. So there's qualification tournament for the Olympics for each region. Yeah. And so I'm in the Pan Am region. So I qualified in the Pan Am region for the Olympics. There was still the European and the Asian region to qualify for the Olympics, and that was going to be in a couple months, and they actually had to cancel that tournament, and they didn't get that qualification tournament back until May of 2021.
Oh crap.
So it's like, oh man, when I heard about that and I qualified for the Olympics, I was just like beyond happy and like super blessed because I was able to at least go into the pandemic of doing nothing with the weight off my shoulder of I already qualified for the Olympics. Like I don't have to, have that in the back of my mind throughout the whole pandemic. So
that's crazy.
That was a relief.
For parkour athletes, I'd say like the pinnacle of our sport is getting the chance to compete at like the Red Bull Art of Motion.
Right.
Is the Olympics the pinnacle of Taekwondo in your opinion?
For sure. Okay. For sure. That's what every Taekwondo athlete, if they're serious and they want to be the best in the sport, they're looking at the Olympics. Everyone wants to go to the Olympics. Even world champions are athletes who've gone to world championships or medal at world championships. There's a lot there that haven't been to the Olympics, that haven't qualified for the Olympics. And that's like the goal. That's like the goal for Taekwondo. Getting a world champion medal or becoming world champion Taekwondo is super important too. But what everyone looks to do is go to the Olympics and get a medal at the Olympics. So that's the big goal for Taekwondo.
That's crazy. And had you tried to qualify in previous years, or was this was your first time technically making it actually to the games?
Yes, yeah. Wow. So I tried in 2012 for London. I had surgeries then. I tore my ACL meniscus. So I've had 6 knee surgeries. I
was going to say, I know you've had multiple knee surgeries.
I've had a lot of knee surgeries. So in 2010, I had a knee surgery, ACL. I came back. I wasn't 100% the same because the surgery was done wrong. The surgeon actually didn't finish the surgery. Like it was a bad surgery, basically. Wow. So I was competing for 2 years with a failed ACL. It's called no ACL, basically. Yeah. In 2012, I tore my other ACL and meniscus. Jeez. And I ended up having surgery on that. And then when I found out I needed surgery for this knee, obviously, I asked the doctor, "Hey man, can you?" Or I didn't say man, but I was like, "Sir, can you check my right knee because I had surgery back on it and it doesn't feel normal." Yeah. He checked it and he's like, "There's no ACL in here. We're gonna have to do surgery on your right and left knees."
So double at the same time.
I had double, and it was a period of half a year doing 3 knee surgeries. So I had one in my. So at that point, let's kind of fast forward. Now we're in 2013. I've had 4 knee surgeries. 1 on the left knee and then 3 on the right knee at that point. Jeez. So then I'm going into 2014. I'm doing really well. I'm actually getting some good medals for Puerto Rico and putting them on the map, and so they start looking at me to go to Rio Olympics, and if you don't know, about Olympic Taekwondo, the selection procedure to get selected, even just your weight category, is really difficult. So in Taekwondo, we have 4 Olympic weight divisions, and out of the 4, only 2 can be selected by each Olympic committee or by each country, right? So you're not only competing against your weight category, but you're also competing against the other weight categories to out-medal them or perform, to get the chance to be the one selected from your Olympic committee to represent them at the qualifiers. Wow. So I got selected, my weight category, or myself, to go to the Olympic qualifiers in Rio. And the Olympic qualifiers for that was 2016 in Mexico. Okay. And I was doing really well. I was gonna qualify, and I won my first 2 fights. And then going into my 3rd match, the girl that I fought, I was really confident I was gonna win, and then the electronic helmets weren't working, and so I hit her in the face a couple times. It's not registered, no. Oh. And at that time, you couldn't card it to get a video. No
manual review,
Yeah, you couldn't do a video review or anything, so you just have to go with it. And long story short, I was super, super, super down and bummed because I really, really believed that I won the match, and but I didn't qualify. So I was man, I hate Taekwondo. I'm done. I wanted to quit. I was super upset with the sport in general because I was this is stupid. This Taekwondo is dumb. This makes no sense. And Anyways, long story short, I ended up coming back, obviously, and my goal was Tokyo. And I said to myself, like, Tokyo was going to be the last one. My dream was always to go to Tokyo when I was a little girl, and so, like, the Olympics being in Tokyo, I said to myself, like, this is the one, or else that's it. I'm not trying again, and I have to, like, move on. And so I gave everything, and during that time of, doing well, medaling and doing good in the getting up in the rankings, I was also going back down at the same time because I had another knee surgery in 2018, where this time they actually had to take out my meniscus. Well, not all of it yet. They had to take out 15% of my meniscus in my left knee. And so it's called a meniscectomy.
Yeah, I have 100% meniscectomy in this knee. So I've been bone on bone for like 12 years. Yeah.
Both of them?
The left one. Full meniscectomy in 2009.
On the left one?
Yeah.
Dude, me too.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. We have that in common. That's so crazy.
It's a nightmare. It sucks, but yeah.
That's so crazy. I didn't even know that. Well, there you go. So firsthand. So I had 15% taken out first, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I can keep going. But I kept having problems, here and there. And then in the 2019 Pan Am Games, in the first fight, I felt it, and I heard the pop in the same knee, and I was like, oh, get back up. I was fighting. I was like, just get back up. You got to keep going, win the match, and just don't think about it.
Yeah.
So I did, won the match. I went back to the holding area, and I knew it's like bruising, and and I knew at that point, I was like, nope.
Wow.
So anyways, and then that's when I got the meniscectomy fully, and I had no clue going to surgery. Like the doctor told me, okay, I think we can salvage the meniscus a little bit. And he's an amazing doctor. Like, he has been amazing to me. And he had no clue until, he put me under the scope. Right. Yeah. So once I was actually under the scope, he had to, come out during surgery, talk to my parents and ask them,
can you do it?
Yeah. And so they're like, make the best decision. And I wake up in surgery, and I'm thinking, like, my career's over. And I'm like crying. And I'm like, at that point in my mind, I'm like, my career is surely over. There's no way I can come back.
Yeah.
It's like my whole career, my whole athleticism almost is just like taken from me. Right. And so that was a hard day, obviously.
Totally.
I ended up coming back. I had to keep going, and there was just something inside of me that told me, like, I need to keep going. And so, I worked with some mental coaches, sports psychologists, which I think is really important. If you're a professional athlete, it doesn't matter what sport you do. I think it's just really important to be able to seek out sports psychologists, because I say this all the time to athletes. For me, specifically, it's not really when I'm in the tournament where I have my problem mentally. It's outside of the competition time. So it's like, dealing with relationships or dealing with injuries, Those are the things that we need to talk about with a sports psychologist and be comfortable with. So that really helped me. My faith absolutely helped me. I'm very big on my faith. So, just knowing that I had that really grounded me and really helped me, inspire me, and motivate me that this is something that I needed to do. So yeah. And then I come back and I qualify for the Olympics.
That's
thankfully.
So great.
Yeah.
I saw your post, I think, where it said, you had always dreamt of going to Tokyo, and you're a big fan of Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and they played the song when you were in the arena, I think, right?
That was it. I actually, I was just like, I can talk about the Tokyo experience in a second, but after I already fought, and I was just like, there was so much going through my mind, and all of a sudden the song comes on, and I say to myself, this is what I wanted.
Yeah, totally.
This is what I wanted. When I was 12, a little girl, and I was watching that was my favorite movie, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, and I was like, man, one day I'm gonna go to Tokyo, and it's gonna be awesome. And then also when I was little, I was like, I'm gonna go to Olympics one day. And so being able to like live my dream of being in Tokyo with the Fast and Furious song playing, and then just competed at the Olympics. It was like a realization for me, like, you're good.
Wow.
You're good.
Did it live up to everything you expected it to be?
I'll be super honest. No, no, man. That's why it was so crazy.
It's tough.
And I just got to be honest.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
And I think that's a good thing that you can kind of just like, sometimes we idolize, right? We'll idolize something. That
put it on a pedestal.
Right. Put it on a pedestal. Like we're working up our whole lives or something. And when we finally get it, you realize like, whoa, this wasn't everything.
Wow. Yeah. 100%.
Right?
100.
Is it? And that was just like everything. It was like a whole life lesson for me right there.
Yeah.
And so I really wish it could have been the full Olympic experience. Maybe that would have made a difference, you know?
Totally.
I didn't have family there. I didn't have friends there. I didn't have my training partners. I didn't have my coach.
Yeah.
I was like really, really alone. Like I was super lonely. And I'm not good with being alone. I mean, I'm okay with being alone, but being at the biggest sporting events alone kind of sucks, you know?
Totally.
And it's a big tournament, and mentally you need the support of others physically there, showing you that love and that good energy that you can really feel. And I just didn't have that.
Dang.
And so it was really, it's just unfortunate that I didn't get to experience that part. So going into the tournament, like, I would say just my mind was just not there. I was really, really tired mentally. I was going through a lot before the Olympics. I was dealing with a big concussion. So, and it wasn't with Taekwondo. I got a concussion because our garage door at our school, it's, a big warehouse garage
it's a roll-up door.
Yeah. So anyways, long story short, I got slammed on the top of my head, and I just got knocked out. I've never gotten knocked out before.
Not even
like
by
with
a kick. Wow, crazy.
No, and so I got knocked out by this door, and man, it was the worst. For me, it's worse than knee surgeries, that's for sure. Like I dealt with this. I still get symptoms here and there with headaches and things like that, but preparing for the Olympics, going through the pain that I went through with the concussion, it was a nightmare for me. It wasn't the experience that I wanted to be. And so like once I actually finally got to the Olympic time, I was tired. I was super, super tired mentally. And I think it got to me emotionally and physically, like that all adds up. So,
okay.
I mean, and that's a big thing I think athletes need to talk about too. Like it's okay. And that's one thing I spoke to my sports psychologist about. I told her, I was like, I just can't wait for this to be over with. And that's okay. And she assured me, like, that's okay, Victoria. You have been waiting for the Olympics for all your life. And once you qualify for the Olympics, you waited 1.5 years for it. And then on top of that, you're dealing with all the things that you're dealing with. It's okay to want that. That's totally. And you have to be honest with yourself. I think I always tell that, to young athletes, like be honest with the way you feel, and talk to someone about it, because I think your brain, your body, everything's connected, and the body feels what the brain does, and the brain feels what the body does, and you can't lie.
Yeah,
So.
Totally.
So anyways, that was my experience of leading up to the Olympics, being really tired and just, kind of getting that over with. But then at the end of it, realizing like, wow, that wasn't I worked up my whole life, and that was just like,
another tournament, right?
Yeah, it was really another tournament.
That's crazy.
It was so quick, and it was just another tournament.
Wow. And so just for everyone that may be interested in it, what weight class did you compete in, and how many rounds did you go, and like what was the final results, I guess?
Yeah, so I fight in the weight category of 49 kilograms. So that's the lightest weight category for females at the Olympics in Taekwondo. And I went up against a good girl who was up and coming from Israel. She went on to get bronze that day. So she did really well. She's doing really well now. So she's a really good fighter. And honestly, just my performance just said it all. Just wasn't me. I think people who watch it and know how I fight, and who I am as a fighter, like that didn't translate the same. Okay. So, yeah.
Are you done with your Olympic career? Are you going to try again for a future games?
I'm asked that, and I asked that to myself, and the best answer I can give is I don't know. I'm trying to take, month by month, a year by year.
Okay.
This year is a super chill year for me. I didn't even compete for national team. I might do some tournaments. It really depends on how I feel. For me, the passion isn't 100% the same as it was leading up to Tokyo. So I know I need to listen to that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to finish the way I did. Mm-hmm. So am I going to say it's the last tournament for me? No, I know for sure I have to do another tournament, but we'll see next year if I really want to pursue the Olympics again.
Wow. Yeah. Crazy. And so obviously this was the pinnacle of your career, or so you thought it was leading up to it. How long was this journey? When did you exactly start Taekwondo, and how did you get introduced to a sport that eventually, took over such a majority of your life?
Yeah. My dad was a professional boxer, so he wanted me to learn fighting skills. And so he taught me boxing when I was little, but he wanted me to actually be physical with it. But him and my mom didn't want me to do boxing physically. Okay. So it makes sense. Okay. So my cousin was doing Taekwondo. He found out that we do actual contact combat fighting, and he really liked that. So we joined and we did Taekwondo, and the reason for me that I really loved it, and the real reason I wanted to keep going, was number one, it was a family thing. My brothers, my cousins were doing it. But then as I got older, I was watching Jackie Chan movies. Okay. I was just oh my gosh, I want to be Jackie Chan one day. So it was really because I wanted to learn martial arts to be like Jackie Chan.
Sick. Heck yeah. That's crazy. And so how old were you when you officially enrolled, and how many days a week were you training before I guess you took it serious enough to know okay, I want to start competing on a national stage?
Yeah. So I would train at first I was training 2 times a week with Olympic Taekwondo. I had to still do traditional because I wasn't a black belt yet. Yeah. Once I got my black belt, then I started training maybe 3 times a week. And that's when I was 13, 14. And then I made junior national team. And then once I made junior national team, my coach and myself as well, realized, okay, now I have to pick up my training because I'm going to go to Olympics now. And so I started training every single day, 5 times a week. Okay. When I was 15. And then I made U.S. national team at 15. Nice. So, yeah.
And so with that being said, obviously you made the U.S. national team. What made you have the decision, or made the decision, to become a representative of the Puerto Rican national team?
Yeah, so I competed for USA 2008, 2009, was on their junior national team and senior national team. Okay. And then in 2010, I had the ACL surgery, the injury.
Yeah, totally.
So I was out that whole year. And so one of the reasons was because I was out, when I came back, the USA, federation started picking their weight categories for the Olympics, and my weight was not picked.
Oh, they didn't even have that.
They didn't even have an option for me. So they picked the heavier weight categories, which was 57 and 67.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and these are kilos, by the way.
Yeah.
And so once I found out that my weight category was going to be taken, I was super bummed. I'm man, but I really need to go to London Olympics. And so I was invited because my family's from Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. I was invited by the president of the federation at the time to come to the team trials, that they haven't selected the weight categories yet. And so I still have a chance. So I went over there in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so obviously we've discussed some of the injuries you've had, 6 knee surgeries up to this point. What do you credit a lot of your success to? Because obviously, for lack of a better term, I would say a good majority of kids have done Taekwondo at some point in their life.
Yeah.
Or they've done some sort of martial arts or some sort of karate variant or Taekwondo variant. What do you think got you to that next level? Was it just something built inside of yourself inherently? Was it the coaches you were surrounded by? What do you think sparked that next level?
That's a good question.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. No, that's good. I like the deepness. I'm a deep person, so I can go deep. But I think number one, when I was little, like I always wanted to be the best. Like just in general,
in
like
anything, right?
In anything, like
Same
I was
as
like,
me.
I was like, I had to be the best one there, right?
Okay.
So I've always had that kind of in me, like, and it's still in me. Like I'm still the same person. I'm always still wanting to be the best in whatever I do. And so I think that's number one. That's just how it was built. And then number two, I really believe it's my family, who's like super, super supportive of me, and my faith. You know, I'm a Christian, and so my faith is super important for me.
Okay.
And so my life mission is like something I always say, like on my social media, is like I want to glorify God in whatever I do. And so that being whatever I do, I want to be the best at it. You know, I'm not going to give it half-assed kind of thing. I have to put everything there. I have to be the best that I can possibly be to reach my full potential. So I just want to glorify God and not give up, and just, you know, be persistent and resilient.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I only asked this because growing up as a kid, I grew up in a martial arts family. So I kind of had no choice in doing the martial arts. But although your father was a boxer, it kind of seems like Taekwondo was somewhat of a choice of yours. Did you have a full childhood, or do you have any regrets from committing so much time to training? And that's only something I ask because looking back now at the age I'm at, I'm like, damn, there are some things that I wish I had dedicated a little bit more time to, but I honestly dedicated more time to martial arts because I was better at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's true. When I was at that age where I was not wanting to do Taekwondo because it was like my whole, like that was all I was doing. And I was like,
the burnout phase.
Yes, the burnout phase, and you just want to hang out with friends.
Yep.
And then, you know, my coaches get involved, and my parents, you know, like you have to keep going. You're really good. You're really, really good. You know, you're different. Yeah, and it helps a lot. It really helped me actually put things into perspective of like, doing martial arts for, you know, just having fun and, you know, or being the best at it. And so that was what my coach and my dad really told me. He's like, do you want to just be whatever, or do you want to be the best? And so that kind of hit me that I want to be the best, and that's going to require me to be different from my friends. Totally. It's going to require me to not go to the movies, you know, on the days that I want to go to the movies and hang out with friends. So, but I definitely had that. But my friends were really cool, and they already knew the answer when they would invite me out.
Yeah, at least they tried.
At least they tried, and I really, really appreciate that. I'm still friends with them, and so it really, you know, we have that relationship to where like, yeah, they know me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just excuse my ignorance on this because I don't know the Taekwondo demographic, or I'm not engulfed into that scene, but it's something I bring up when I have female parkour athletes on the show. And I just always ask them, like in parkour, for example, and I'm sure your husband can attest to it. It's, for lack of a better term, is a male dominated sport. And so growing up in Taekwondo, was it something where you had female training partners, or did you find yourself always training with males? And what was that like as far as being like a female Taekwondo athlete?
Oh, for sure. It was male dominant, for sure. So I was always training with guys. Man, not until I was like 15, I finally got like a couple of good, really good female athletes, actually, like national team level athletes. And we kind of purposely did that. We were all on different national teams, but we would train together for that. But when I was younger, growing up, and, you know, my whole career, it's always been dominantly a male partner. So I have been, even when I was little, I was training with my coach. My coach was like banging up on me, making me cry, the guys making me cry. And, you know, he would always tell me, like, if you can go with a guy and you can, you know, do well and hit them and do your thing, there's no girl that's going to beat you. Okay. So I put that into perspective, and that helped me. Okay. So. Yeah.
And now for someone that owns a gym and obviously teaches Taekwondo classes to beginners off the street, personally, I was a member of like the sport karate scene, and I got to compete on like that scene, so to speak. In my personal opinion, it has died significantly comparative to its heyday, which was, for my personal opinion, late 90s, early 2000s. That's when we would go to these competitions and they were packed to the brim, and you'd have some of the most insane competitions amongst some of the top level competitors. In my opinion, the tournaments are a lot smaller these days, and that's just in the sport karate. So I was just curious, as someone that's been a Taekwondo practitioner for over a decade, do you think the sport is continuing to grow at the same level it did previously, or are you starting to see the same thing that I'm noticing in the sport karate circuit?
I think it's growing.
Wow,
Yeah, I think
that's
it's growing. I think especially now, one of the helps have been UFC.
I was going to ask if,
Yeah, UFC has definitely been a big help. When I was younger, growing up, training Taekwondo, I was the Taekwondo girl. No one else did martial arts. No one else did Taekwondo. I was like the weird one that did martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Now you have a scene where like all the kids want to do a fighting sport or martial arts, and even the older people, they want to do martial arts too. They want to learn fighting because now it's cool. Now it's a little bit more mainstream. So I think just even with that, Taekwondo in itself has a big influence in the UFC, right? I think you can tell when a UFC fighter has Taekwondo background, because their kicks are amazing. The kicks are
even their stance. Right. The way that they square up is differently. Yeah, absolutely.
So you can tell that, and I think Taekwondo helps a lot of UFC fighters. And I've said that for the longest time, really. Even when UFC was first present, coming up, and I'd watch the fights and I would see them kick, and I would say, man, if only they can kick like a Taekwondo athlete. Yeah. And I said that, kind of biasedly, but I was really, really certain about that. Because I really believe in the Taekwondo technique. I'm biased, but
I mean, in my personal opinion, because I've been a UFC fan since back at UFC 1, when it was just like no weight classes. It was insane. You could head stomp and stuff. The one thing that I always thought that a lot of UFC and MMA fighters in general lacked was lead leg kicks. It was always rear-legged kicks in order to just generate power. But you could telegraph it, and you can see people's hips move. And so the guys that are implementing, a different stance, a more Taekwondo or karate-based stance, and using lead leg kicks and being able to, burst in and then get back out, you're seeing the effectiveness in it, if that makes a lot of sense. So.
Exactly. I totally agree. Yeah. And I was just waiting for it to happen, really. I'm just happy that it is. And so, I think that's one of the reasons why like people want to start doing Taekwondo. And I think Olympic Taekwondo is growing too. So Olympic Taekwondo is just, it's kind of weird just because the rules are always changing. Totally. So that's the thing with Olympic Taekwondo. The only thing, the negative thing is the fact that the rules are always changing. And so the audience can never kind of get on board, because once they figure out the rules, it changed 2 months later, So that's the only downfall I would say with Olympic Taekwondo and their growth. I think it's really just because there's always new rules, and people can't always be keeping up with it. But then you have those countries like Korea and Spain and Mexico, who are just like diehard Taekwondo, and they'll follow the rules regardless.
So what is on the agenda and the life plan now that, for lack of a better term, you have knocked the Olympics off your bucket list, right? Is there anything else to look forward to, or what's the next stage of life looking like?
Well, I just got married. I got married a month ago, so that was great. That's obviously something I've always wanted to do.
Olympics and get married.
Olympics
Both
and get married, right? Check. Okay, yes. What's next? So I just started training stunts like back in October. So the same time I started training parkour.
Okay.
I just, kind of like got more familiar with it here and there, and my husband was doing some as well, and so he's more experienced, and so he's been teaching me a little bit. But I really, really like the fact that you can fight just like you would like in Taekwondo, but you can kind of like use your imagination.
Totally.
and then just kind of like live out a weird fantasy.
I mean, it's like you said, you got into it because you watched Jackie Chan growing up, right? So and I don't mean to jinx this, and I don't want to blast you if your students are listening to this, but if you ever got like a role on a stunt double job, would you leave the school and take the job?
Oh no, I love my school. Well, the thing is, I have an amazing instructor base.
Okay, cool.
So
Okay.
I'm able to leave when I have to. Like for my wedding, I was gone for like 3 weeks.
Okay.
And props to my instructors. You guys are the best.
Yes.
So we have really good instructors that are high level and know how to kind of take care of the classes. So
super cool.
we're really, and thankfully we're in a good position that we can do that stuff.
Okay, that's awesome.
I love my students though.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't mean to
awesome.
blast you in that way, but it's something that obviously comes into play because I talk about this all the time on the JAMCast, and I talk about it at workshops all the time. There's obviously a limited female talent pool at the current time right now, and I only say that not to bash the current females. There's a limited talent pool because there's so much media currently right now. There's almost too much media and not enough people to fill the roles right now. So yeah, if it's something that you're looking to get into, I only say that because there is a high likelihood that if you pursue it at a high level, you may, before you know it, like not be able to be there as often. And so I was just curious, you know.
It's good to know that. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, 100%. And so at this point in your career, obviously you're not training necessarily for the Olympic Games. It may be something that's on the back burner and obviously still up in the air. How many days a week do you find yourself training now? Do you consider just teaching part of training, or do you still train for fun and for sport outside of that?
Oh man, teaching is definitely training. That's like, oh man, sometimes for me, teaching is even more so hard because you're like like emotionally like
totally.
Talking and
it's
putting
a lot of
that energy. Yeah. But yeah, so outside of teaching, I am still training. So I still train Olympic Taekwondo because I love it. I don't train as much. Obviously, I just, you know, I want to keep everything kind of going still at a good pace. I don't want to just dump everything. That's just, you know, I still love Taekwondo. And I'm training other things like parkour. And, you know, for the longest time, like I said, I was not allowed to do anything besides Olympic Taekwondo. I wasn't even able to do like Poomsae, which is...
Wow, really?
Yeah, like I wasn't even able
crazy.
to get like my dans and stuff in Taekwondo. Like literally only Olympic Taekwondo.
For those that don't know, she's talking about forms, basically.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I wasn't able to forms. Like I wasn't able to get into like the next dance and stuff.
Yeah.
So like I should be master level right now, but I have my third dan because, you know, I was always told like, no, only Olympic Taekwondo. Get away from traditional Taekwondo. You know, you just have to focus on Olympic Taekwondo.
Crazy.
And, you know, that's cool. You know, it's, you know, I think when you want to be an expert at something, you got to focus on that and that only. So it makes sense. But now that, you know, I can kind of, you know, let loose a little bit, I'm getting into parkour, you know, learning stuff like that, doing some weapons now, you know, just fun, just having fun.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
Enjoying the journey. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so this is a question I always ask everyone before we get out of here. And so I'm curious what your answer will be.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? And where do you see yourself 10 years from now? And that's an interesting question because
so deep and hard.
Oh, I mean, and you can ask your husband. I ask every guest this question. This is a question I end everyone with. But yeah, I'm curious what yours involves because with that being said, that's obviously still a timeline that allows for future games should you choose to. So.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm taking my life one day, 1 month at a time. Okay. Like when I came out here, I literally planned it a week in advance, you know? So it's like, all right, would this happen? Okay, let's do it. Let's go. Let's just jump on it. Let's go. You know, so I'm trying to go, you know, moment by moment, month by month kind of thing and see where life kind of leads me and where it takes me. So but for sure, I think 10 years from now, I definitely want to have some kids. So, you know, I'm 28. So by then, I definitely hope I have kids.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. So, with that being said, I really appreciate you making the time to come here. Like I said, I was able to snag you while you're in town, and we were able to do this in person. But it's just been cool to follow your journey. Obviously, I knew about you as a Taekwondo athlete far before I got the chance to meet you in person. And now to see you opening up a gym with your husband and seeing you actually made it to the Olympics, it's just really, really cool. And I appreciate you taking the time to come down and share some insight and stories with our audience.
Yeah, thanks, man. No, it's a pleasure. Obviously, a huge fan of you. So, you know, it's like an honor for me to be on the show, and I watch it. So it's so cool. So.
Hell yes. So, before we get out of here, can you look into this camera and just let people know where they can continue to stay up to date with your own personal journey? And if you want to shout out the gym, feel free to do so also. And we'll put it all on the screen.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me at my Instagram, which is Victoria Stambaugh, just my name. And I guess it'll be spelled on the bottom. And then my gym is Believe.Commit.Achieve. So you can follow us on our Instagram, which is just Believe.Commit.Achieve. So.
Hell yeah. With that being said, guys, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for a brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movie community like Miss Victoria Stambaugh herself. So that being said, guys, I got to give one more very special shout out. Thanks for coming through. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hell yes.
So much.
And as always, guys, coming at you, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.